Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you. So we are live today and we're going to be talking about the 5 secrets to beat distraction and stay focused in your daily life. This is Divya Tampi, your smart productivity coach. Okay. So I want to really welcome every one of you who is here. So just making sure that I'm able to do that. Good evening and very warm welcome to all of you. We are live today and we're going to be talking. Okay. Yeah, looks like I had the YouTube on, so I was able to hear myself. So yeah, let's get started, right? So this is a very important topic. How many of you have experienced the pain of being distracted when you really want to focus, when you know that you have really important things to do, that you should be doing some really deep work and using the most of your creativity, and the more you try, the harder you find to stay focused on the things that you want to be focusing on, and instead you find yourself scrolling through your phone, wanting to make calls to other people, yeah, or yeah, doing random things which you had not originally planned to do, and finding it very hard to stick to the plan that you had originally created. Okay. Chances are very high that that's a lot of you who deal with that kind of a situation. So that's exactly what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about the secrets that will wipe out distraction for good. It will help you to become the kind of person who stays focused at will, without difficulty, with ease. But before we get into the secrets, I also want to tell you a little about what is the impact of distraction on our lives. Okay. I also want to talk about what exactly causes distraction. What are those things that nobody told you about, which is the root cause for distraction? Okay. And then we will talk about the 2 kinds of distraction, and then we'll talk about the 5 secrets that will help to wipe out this distraction that you experience. Okay. So thank you so much for being here on time. And I also want to just share my presentation. So just making sure that I have the presentation up and ready. Awesome. Okay. I have it here all set and ready. So good evening once again to all those of you who are joining in right now. Yeah. So here we go. Let me. Here we go. So that's the presentation that we have. The 5 secrets to beating distraction and staying focused for good. Okay. So I want to first tell you a little about what you're going to learn. I just told you the effects of distraction on your life, the real cause of distraction that no one really told you about, how to get rid of distractions and stay away from them for good, how to concentrate better at whatever it is that you do. Yeah. So, and also how to sustain focus for longer periods of time. Right. So here are some statistics that I want to share with you. According to a Harvard study that was conducted a few years back, it was found that whenever people are doing something, 47% of the time, they are not focused on the task that they're doing. Rather, 47% of the time, their mind is wandering. Right now, this study was conducted somewhere in 2010, and the situation has only become worse over the period of time. And I'm sure most of you would agree with that. Okay, now one of the things that I'd like you to do at all times is to make sure that you keep putting your comments in the comment section. If any of you are unable to do that, just subscribe to this channel to make sure that you're able to comment. And towards the end of the session, so we have like a 45-minute session, I will use the last 10 to 15 minutes to answer any questions that you have related to the topic. Okay, so a very warm welcome. I see eyes groups who's here. Hi to you as well. So the second statistic that I want to tell you is apparently every time so one study was conducted to find out what happens to people who smoke marijuana. So when people are smoking marijuana in larger amounts, their IQ levels, which is their intelligence quotient, comes down by 5 points. Now you're wondering why I'm talking about marijuana, because how is distraction related to marijuana? I'm going to tell you why. Another study showed that when we are getting distracted often, So if you're trying to focus on one thing and you're getting distracted by one thing and you come back and then you're getting distracted again and then you come back and then you get distracted again, when this kind of a situation is happening with you, your intelligence quotient is going down by 10 points. So you see, your intelligence quotient is going down twice as much when you're getting distracted multiple times in comparison to if you were smoking marijuana. This is in no way trying to tell you that you should smoke marijuana. Please don't, right? But this is a very interesting statistic to tell you the impact that distraction is having on you and the quality of your life. Okay, so I see a few more people have joined in. A very warm welcome to all of you. Right, another statistic says that every time you get distracted, okay, it takes you 29 minutes to come back and focus on the task that you had originally been doing. So for example, if you're drafting an email and then you got distracted with something else that came to your mind and you thought about it, maybe you did some research on it, and by the time you come back and you're able to focus back on the thing that you are originally working on, takes you 29 minutes to be able to do that. Okay, this is also because of what is referred to as attention residue, because once you start thinking about something else, your brain cannot immediately, it's not like a switch on and switch off that it can suddenly focus deeply on one thing and then suddenly focus deeply on one thing. No. Okay, it requires, once you start working on a particular task, it could be anything, anything that requires a little bit of effort, your brain requires some time, a few minutes to focus itself and bring all its attention to that task. So every time you get distracted, it takes 29 minutes for you to come back. Okay, do you find that interesting? That's a super interesting thing that we have. So yes, here something I want to tell you a story. Okay, so you may have heard about the Greek mythology and the god called Zeus, Zeus. One of his sons was named Tantalus, and Tantalus was up to no good, and hence Zeus cursed him, to hell. And what would happen in hell with Zeus was that every time he was, every minute he would have these fruits that he would see, or this water that he would see. And every time he would reach for the fruit would go away from him. And every time he would reach for the water would start to recede. Okay, so his life was literally a living hell, not because of the kind of hell that we normally imagine where there's a lot of fire and you're burning, but imagine the frustration that one experiences when you're trying to do something and you're not able to quite access it. And why I'm telling you this story is because our lives are a little like this when we are constantly feeling distracted. Because there are so many things that we want to do in life. It could be that we want to pursue certain goals and achieve certain things in our lives. We want to spend quality time with our children. We want to have leisure time for ourselves. And these are the fruits that we keep pursuing and they keep receding. Every time we think, oh, okay, I'm going to get that. And then you get distracted with something else, right? So if you are able to okay, if you are able to see me and hear me, just make sure that you give me up so I know that you're able to do that. Okay, awesome. So yeah, our lives are a little like Tantalus, right? So once again, I just want to tell you that I will be answering all the questions in the last 10 to 15 minutes. So please ask questions at that point of time so that I can give you all the value that I want to, sticking to the topic that we are talking about, which is how to beat distractions. Now, let's talk about what is the most important ingredient for creativity and high quality life. Okay. Now, there can be many ingredients to a high quality life. If you had a lot of, you had good relationships and you had good money and all of that, that could add to the quality of your life. But the most important ingredient to the quality of your life, I'd like you to guess that as well. But I'm also going to be sharing it with you. Okay, is your attention. Okay, your attention and your focus is your most precious resource. If you are in control of your attention, if you choose that you want to focus on something and you are able to keep your focus on that one thing, then you are going to be a winner. Then the quality of your life is going to be really good, right? And this is the exact thing that we struggle with, because here we are talking about distraction and how easy it is to get distracted minute by minute, hour by hour, day after day, month after month, and year after year. Okay. Uh, Now let's talk a little about how the brain really works. Okay. Now, you see, whenever we are doing any kind of exercise or any kind of physical activity, we know that the body is using energy. But here's one thing you may not have known, and that is whenever your mind has to think and has to come up with ideas, or whenever your mind is trying to resolve a problem or do something it has never done before, it uses energy. Okay, so anything that your mind is doing consciously, it is using energy, right? And your mind's main task is to conserve energy at all costs. Okay, now why am I telling you about this? Okay, the reason I'm telling you this is because, okay, okay, here's the thing. uh, the mind is your brain is constantly trying to control the amount of attention and focus that you give to things, whatever task that you're doing. Okay, it's trying to reduce the amount of attention that you have to pay for anything. Why? Because it uses up, your brain cells use up a lot of energy. In fact, your brain can use up more energy than the body if you're doing a lot of thinking, etc. And that's why, people can in fact start losing weight surely by using a lot of brain power. Okay. And hence the brain, your mind keeps the energy of the brain under lock and key, and it will only unlock your attention to pay attention to certain kind of things. Okay, do you want to know what is the key to the lock that is on your brain that prevents you from giving attention to things? Yeah. Yes, the key to the lock of your brain is this enzyme or this hormone which is called dopamine. Okay, dopamine is basically a chemical which is released by your body, and the brain will release dopamine specifically at specific instances. Okay, it will release dopamine. So this dopamine is something that unlocks your motivation and your motivation to take action, right? It will unlock, the brain releases dopamine whenever you see some delicious food, and hence you are motivated to take action and take a bite of that tasty looking food, and that is why you are tempted to eat fried food, salty foods, processed foods, hamburgers, things which are actually not very healthy for you. Okay, but you see the brain is working from a very survival kind of a mode. So in the early days, when we were hunters and gatherers, the brain was constantly looking out for foods which were high in calories, because human beings in those days did not get food very easily, and the body and the mind required energy, and hence whenever human beings came across high calorie foods like a fruit or anything or something with fat, the brain release more and more dopamine so that you consume more and more of that food. Another is sex. The human beings are wired, the human brain is wired towards reproduction, which means, the tendency to, so this could, in today's world, it could be more about, trying to attract a mate and, trying to flirt with people, or watching porn and stuff like that. Because when you do these kind of things, the brain releases dopamine. The next is after exercise. So dopamine does not get released before exercise, but after you have done your gym workout or whatever kind of workout, the brain releases dopamine, which is the reason why a lot of times, after you've done with the workout, you feel good, right? The next one is positive social interactions. So whenever you see laughing faces or cute dogs and things like that, your brain releases dopamine, because you are wired for positive social interactions, because we as human beings are social beings. Okay, and we love interaction. Okay. Uh, now, why am I telling you all of this? Okay, the reason why I'm telling you all of this is now you would be able to understand why is it that we find it so tempting to pick up the phone and looking at WhatsApp messages or Instagram reels or YouTube shorts or any other social media. Why? Because it is giving you all those social interactions, the positive social interactions. And maybe you have put up something on the social media and other people are giving you likes and hearts and comments, and every time you see that interaction, your brain releases dopamine. So what is happening in your brain is that all the social media and is giving you quick dopamine hits. It's almost like taking drugs. It's giving you the quick pleasure. Okay, So why we really get distracted? Okay, there are two reasons. One is the external distractions and one is the internal distractions. Now, you see, external distractions is what I'm talking about. All the phones. Why are we getting distracted? Why are we so attracted towards those things? Why is it that we get addicted to something like the phone or the Netflix? One is, all those things are designed to get you addicted. Okay, what do I mean by design to get you addicted? If you see, purane zamane mein, when it was like we had Doordarshan. For those of you who know of those times, many of you may not know of those times. If there was one serial on TV, one episode will get over today, and the next episode will come tomorrow. Like you had no option. But today, if you go on a Netflix or a Disney Hotstar, whatever else it is, you watch an episode, and before you even make up your mind, you must be thinking to yourself, okay, maybe I should watch it later. But by then, the app is designed in such a way that it is already scrolled to the next episode. Okay, so it's not even giving you an opportunity to take a decision. And the moment the next episode comes, your brain is releasing dopamine. So it's so easy to get addicted to this constant shots of dopamine. So external distractions are things like, people who are interrupting you in terms of, maybe if you're sitting in an office, they're coming and asking you for something, or it is a phone call which is coming in between, or it is a notification from your phone, or it is, some other kind of ring or ping or notification which is coming. And these are all external distractions. Now, what are internal distractions? Okay, internal distractions are like when you decide that I'm going to work on this project, okay, or I'm going to work on this plan, and you sit down, and as you start to work on that plan, you suddenly remember, oh gosh, I had to respond to that email that I forgot about. Or you suddenly remember that, oh, I have to buy some batteries, I should remember to do. Or you remember that somebody had asked you a question and now you have that idea that you can. And your mind will come up with all these things which prevents you from focusing on what you're doing and makes you take action on something else, which is not helping you to make progress with whatever it is that you are trying to work on. Okay, if any of you have experienced this kind of distraction, let me know in the chat box. The reality is that all of us humans experience this. Okay, and the more we give in to these internal distractions, the more we experience it. And let me tell you one really hard and entertaining fact. Here's the thing. When you are experiencing an external distraction, when like, somebody coming and disturbing you, or somebody coming and interrupting you, and you like deal with that distraction and you come back, your mind takes 23 minutes to focus back on the task that you are doing. On the other hand, when you are distracted by internal reasons, like your own thoughts and your own daydreams, etc., it takes 6 extra minutes to come back and focus on the task that you were doing. Okay. So, great. Yes. So what I'm also trying to tell you here is internal distractions are more harmful than external distractions. Okay. A lot of people think otherwise. Okay. Now, so you know now why we get distracted, right? But let me actually spell it out to you. The 3 reasons why we get distracted. One of the main reasons why we get distracted, especially when we are trying to do something important and which requires your focus, is whenever you're feeling even the slightest amount of resistance. That resistance could be some anxiety as to, I don't know if I'll be able to do this. It could be worry, it could be fear that what you do may not be good enough, and all of that. That is the resistance. Every time you experience resistance is what shows up in the form of internal distraction. Your mind is trying to get rid of that anxiety and trying to find something else which can give you a sense of relief from that stress that it is experiencing. And that is when your mind will come up with, hey, just look at the phone, maybe some message has come. Or hey, let's check out Instagram, you had put some thing up on Instagram, maybe somebody has commented, right? So your mind is trying to divert you from this feeling of stress and take you to something which is pleasurable, right? So resistance to the kind of task that you're doing is one of the reasons why. And it could also be boredom. You don't enjoy doing that particular task, but you have to do it, and that's when you experience resistance. And when you experience resistance, your mind will try to distract you. Okay. Next is anything that takes a little bit of effort. Okay. For example, even something as simple as you tell yourself that every night I should read. Okay? And then when you are about to go to sleep, when it is time for you to sleep, what you have immediately at hand is your phone. You don't have a book at hand. Now when you think of reading a book, you have to now start thinking, okay, what book should I read? Is this better, that better? Now that seems like a lot of work, because taking a decision about what book to read is energy that you have to invest. Now that is another place where you get distracted. Your mind is like, oh, this is taking up too much energy. Let's focus on something that is easy. And what is easy? You have your phone at hand. Okay, let's open up and check out, some messages. Let's check out some social media and whatever, right? So any action where there is more than 20 seconds of delay in, for example, even if you have to go and work out. Okay. And if you have to sit down and decide, once you wake up, you have to decide, okay, what should I wear? Where are my socks? All of this, chances are very high that you're not going to be doing that activity. Okay. Because there is an amount of activation energy which is involved for you to get ready to go to the gym. Okay. So the biggest problem is not about, the biggest problem is not that doing the action will take a lot of effort. It is that starting the action takes a certain amount of effort. जैसे कि आप वो गाड़ी जो start करते हैं ना, वो starting energy is quite high. So if you can get started with something, actually it is quite easy for you to stay focused. But if your starting is not easy, your mind is going to find multiple ways to keep you distracted. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Good to see you, Rutu. Good to see all of you who are here. Say hi and let me know that you're here. And do hang on to your questions, because we're going to be answering the questions in the last 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. The third reason why you get distracted easily is because when your brain gets used to easy shots of dopamine. Okay, so what do I mean by easy shots of dopamine is just looking at Instagram, just reading through messages, just having a conversation with somebody does not require any extra energy of the brain. So when you're getting easy shots of dopamine without you having to lift a finger, maybe you have to lift a finger, but you don't have to lift your body. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to apply your brain. If you are getting easy shots of dopamine like that, then your brain will not encourage you to do something which is harder. Okay, so these are the three main reasons why you get distracted easily. Okay, so here's something I want to tell you. If you get distracted easily, it's not because you are you have a personality who gets distracted. It's not because you're genetically somebody who gets distracted. A lot of people seem to think like that. Okay, one of the reasons why you may be getting distracted is because you become habituated to getting distracted over a period of time, and you are habituated to high shots of dopamine coming in without putting in effort. By the way, dopamine is also the same thing. It is the same chemical which pushes you to persevere after long-term goals. Because if any of you have gone after long-term goals, and I'm pretty sure most of you have, if you have completed your school exams, studied for your exams, passed your exams, got good grades, or maybe practiced for some kind of a sports activity, or maybe you have completed a painting which took a lot of effort. If you've done any of that, the thing that actually motivated you to take action and persevere with whatever it is that you were doing was also dopamine. Okay, so what we really want to avoid is the easy shots of dopamine. Okay, so now, okay, I want to tell you about what are the different ways in which you can get rid of. So now we have come to the 5 secrets of getting rid of the distraction, of wiping out distraction from your life and getting back your focus, claiming your life back. Okay, so the first one is dopamine detox. So I told you that your brain is already addicted to shots of dopamine which are coming so easily, because technology is designed in such a way that you will easily feel this pleasure every time you see a like, a comment, or a phone call, or a message, or a notification, any of that, right? So what we have to do is we have to start by giving our brain the practice of of not having too much of dopamine. Okay, how do we do a dopamine detox? Is that you should have at least one day in a week, if not one day, at least half a day in a week, where you stay away. Like you have to decide beforehand, and then you keep all your digital gadgets away. So whether it is your phone, whether it is your laptop, if possible, even your Kindle and other things. Okay, they are out of sight, you know. And so it's not just about saying that I'll keep it here, but I will not look at it. No, that doesn't work. Okay. If it is anywhere in your vicinity, you are going to look at it and it is not your fault. So it's about keeping it away. Excuse me. You could do this in 2 3 ways. You know, one is you could have certain areas at your home which are technology free zones. It's actually a great idea to have your bedroom as a technology free zone, which means that when you go to bed at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or whatever time it is, your phone stays out of the bedroom, your laptop stays out of the bedroom. Okay. Now, what happens is, you know, slowly your brain gets used to it makes this connection that the bedroom is for resting, that the bedroom is for leisure, the bedroom is for relaxation and being calm. Okay. And over a period of time, your brain will not crave for the phone. Okay. It's also very important. And now you could actually start with having a dopamine free or a technology free zone at your home, like a bedroom. And if bedroom seems like too much initially, you can do that. Your bed is a technology free zone. And then you can make it bigger and say that your bedroom is a technology free zone. And then you can make it bigger and say that Sunday is a technology free day. Okay. Or you can say half a day is technology free day. So it's not just about technology. You know, dopamine gets released even with high fat foods or highly processed foods with lot of salt, lot of sugar and all of that, right? So on days that you are going to go technology free, it's also important that, because now that the brain is not getting the dopamine from the phone and notification and things like that, it will look for other means of getting dopamine, you know, like food. So it's important that on days that you're going on a dopamine detox, that you keep away from processed foods as well. Maybe you could so decide beforehand what it is that you're going to do during these dopamine free times or technology free times. Okay. For example, if you go to bed and if you're not used to not having the phone when you're in bed, it's important that you decide beforehand. Okay, maybe you decide that you're going to read a book. If you are going to read a book, decide beforehand exactly which book you're going to read and keep it by the side of your bed. Okay, so that is dopamine detox. Write DD in the chat box if that made sense to you. Okay, so start small. You don't have to start with one day because if you start very big, you will give it up very easily. So start with maybe 1 hour a day, which is technology free and, you know, high calorie food free. Okay. The second thing that I want to tell you about is building rituals and routines. Okay. Now, let me tell you a story. One of the clients that I was working with, she is somebody, you know, who has big goals and works very hard. But one of the challenges that she was facing is that she would have a list of things that she would want to do at work every day. No, and the first thing, you know, she really enjoyed having meetings where she would give a lot of inputs, and, you know, they would have brainstorming sessions and all of that. But whenever she came back from like a brainstorming session, and let's say she was supposed to work on an Excel sheet, okay, that next task of working on an Excel sheet is something that she found very hard to focus. You know, she was very tempted to make calls or schedule random meetings and do that kind of thing. So we had a discussion about it, and we said that what she would do is that every time that she had a meeting, she would not straight away come and start with the Excel sheet. Instead, she would actually do a little routine which will help her to ground herself. Okay. The routine could be that she goes for a little mindful walk and pays attention to her breath. Okay, so you do set up some kind of a routine which your brain starts relating to starting off something new. Now, rituals and routines are particularly great when you're starting the day and when you're ending the day. For example, without us even thinking about it, we already have certain routines in our day. Like you brush your teeth in the morning, you may be having your cup of tea, glass of water, you know, or doing your shower, going to the washroom. So there is already a routine that already exists in your life. Now, these are things that you don't have to think about. Okay. And because you don't have to think about, and it almost happens on auto mode, it happens every day and you're able to go to the next thing easily. So you want to build in some routines and rituals every time you switch from one important task to another important task, or every time you're starting your work day. So, for example, one of the routines that you could have is before you sit down on your workstation, a work table, if you're working from home or whatever, you could sit down somewhere else. Maybe you could sit down on a yoga mat down, okay, and close your eyes, bring attention to your breath, and start visualizing what your workday is going to look like. Visualize yourself doing all those things that you set out to do, and visualize yourself feeling energetic and happy and breaking through, having breakthroughs during the day and all of that, and then zone in on the one task that you want to be doing next. Okay, you could even visualize yourself achieving the goals that you've set for yourself. Once you ground yourself in that energy, you can actually come back and start your day. But actually, your ritual and routine could also be a very simple thing. It could be that every time before you sit down at your workstation, you have something hot to drink. Okay. Now, I won't recommend a sweet tea or coffee, but instead it could be something hot. It could even be hot water with some kind of, you know, uh, yeah, some kind of a drink, which is I'm kind of losing the word for it. Yeah. So basically, it could be something hot and nice and no calories, but it gives you this sense of slowly the brain starts connecting it to you starting your day. Okay. So this is a really good one. Every time you're starting your day, and also end your day with a ritual and a routine. Okay. So if it is possible for you, then fold your laptop, remove everything from the table, and make it clear so that you know that your day has come to an end. If that is practically not possible, one simple thing that you could do is take your laptop, put it in the laptop bag. Rest of the things can stay, but you arrange it neatly so that your brain can connect that to the work day having gotten over. Okay. So have small routines and rituals which signal to your brain to get into a focused mode. Okay. The third thing is, before I talk about making progress measurable, here's the thing. Everybody talks about distraction. Do you know what is the opposite of distraction? Okay. The opposite of distraction is traction. Okay. So the word distraction literally means that when something is taking you away from something else towards which you're moving forward, that is called distraction. Okay. Now, what is traction? Traction is when you're moving forward towards something, right? And what that literally means is that for you to have traction, you need to have clarity about what you're working towards, right? And that is where the next point comes into picture, which is make your progress measurable. Now, a lot of times what happens is when you say that, oh, I need to work on that project. Oh, I need to create that presentation. Oh, I need to work on that proposal. Now, what is happening here is that you're telling yourself, okay, that needs to be done. And maybe it is something that you've not done before. Maybe it is something which requires you to think differently. So already your mind is starting to feel a little overwhelmed because it seems like a big thing and you don't know how you're going to work through it. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to break down that big task into smaller chunks. Okay, for example, if you're talking about PowerPoint presentation, that you need to make a presentation for your meeting. Okay, the first thing that you probably need to do is come up with a list of ideas of what could go into the presentation. Okay, roughly just bullet points, no PPT, nothing, just in your rough note, come up. Okay, maybe you require about 30 minutes to do that. Okay, so you say, okay, 30 minutes, I can do that. And next, another 30 minutes you could spend, fleshing out the ideas that you have already come up with. Another 30 minutes you could actually spend building the actual PPTs and, visually adding all the elements that you need to and putting it together. Another 20 minutes you could spend on what should be the conclusion and what should be the introduction. So now what has happened is, you know that it is going to take you 1 hour 50 minutes to complete this PPT. That is what you're planning. But then what, it's not just, oh, 2 hours I have to spend. What you've done is you've broken it down into tasks so that your mind is able to see a starting point and an end point. It's not like starting point is now and end point is someday, I have no idea, right? Not like that. It's like your brain can see the starting point and the end point. Okay, and that being able to know that, okay, if I do work for just 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I will be making progress. You are able to measure whether you are making progress or not. That is what motivates you to keep going. Okay. The next one that I want to tell you, this is something that a lot of people take for granted and don't do. It is rest and play. We feel like if there is a lots to do, we should just keep doing. Okay. That's the worst thing that you could do for yourself. Your brain is one of the most sophisticated machines in this world. It's the most creative item under the sun. Okay. But for it to unleash its creativity, it requires periods of focus and periods of unfocused time. Okay, your brain brings out the best ideas, the best connections, and the deepest work and high quality things that it comes out with is when you give it a good balance of deep focus and no focus. Okay. And so a lot of people feel like, oh, I have a lot of work, I'll just keep doing and just keep making progress. No, don't do that. Okay. It's very important that when you plan your work, you plan in hours of rest. In fact, when you do your planning, the first thing that you should plan in the day is the hours of rest. Okay. Now, rest doesn't always mean 2-3 hours of rest, right? I mean, there is the rest of sleeping at night. Yes. But other than that, you should, and by the way, it's not just rest, but also play. Your mind has to experience fun and ease and love and relaxation. When it is experiencing that, then it is motivated to focus on the things that you have to focus during the day. And this is a mistake a lot of people make. They're like, forget about rest and play, I'll just keep doing. So what happens is that they keep trying to focus, and now your brain is resisting it because it is not pleasant, because the brain hasn't got its share of play and rest. Okay. And now you keep trying to focus and your brain will keep distracting you. All the internal distraction that I was talking about, your brain will keep resisting the task, as a result of which all the internal distractions will come into play. But when you start building in rest, you say that it's, I'm going to work for these many hours. And by the way, you can work for, if you're somebody who finds it very hard to focus, what I would suggest is have 20 minutes of focus time followed by 10 minutes of no focus, like you do other things. Again, follow it up with 20 minutes of focus time and 10 minutes of rest. Play something, do something else, but don't look through your phone, right? Because you want to slowly get your brain into the practice of doing focused work and rewarding with rest and play. Okay. Now your brain makes a connection that focusing is going to be rewarded. Okay. So this is another beautiful one. Make sure that you use it. Last but not the least is make your environment focus friendly. Okay. Now, this is something that a lot of people, most of us think that people who are very disciplined are disciplined because they have high levels of willpower. But you know what? When it comes to willpower, those people who are super successful and those people who are not super successful, there is not much of a difference. Okay, the difference is not the willpower in their head, but the difference is in the environment around them. Okay, what do I mean by this? If you are sitting down and trying to focus on something while your phone is right next to you, you are not going to be able to focus because temptation is right next to you. If you are trying to avoid sugar while you have chocolates right in front of you, or your kitchen is stacked with unhealthy food and snacks, you are not going to be able to stick to that diet. It's not your fault because anybody in that environment will give in to temptation. So your job is not to build your willpower and keep testing and challenging your brain, but to design an environment. What do I now, when I say the word design an environment, sounds very complicated, like sounds like only, people who have all the luxuries can afford to do that. No, I'm talking about very simple things. For example, when I have to do deep focused work, one of the things that I do is I take my phone and I open the cupboard and I put it inside the drawer of the cupboard. Okay. Now you may be wondering, Array, what if somebody calls? And first of all, I switch off the notification. Now I don't do this all the time, right? But when I know that something important has to be done, I will do it for maybe half an hour at a stretch. Okay. Or I may do it for 1 hour at a stretch, after which I allow myself to look at the phone for maybe 15 minutes or whatever. Again, when I have to do deep focus work, I'll keep my phone away. Okay. So it is important that you keep your phone out of sight. So that is what I mean by designing. Okay. If you have a lot of clutter around you, it is going to be difficult for you to focus. So at least the space where you're working, keep things in a certain order, keep things, books and other things that you don't require, keep it away somewhere, stashed away, so that, you have a clean environment and your mind is able to focus. Secondly, it is also about keeping things handy, those things that you require to be able to do the things that you want to do, keep them right in front of you. That is why I gave you the example of, if you want to start the habit of reading a book, make sure that you keep a physical book, the book that you enjoy reading, keep it by your bedside. So that when you go to bed, you're not thinking, oh, should I read, should I not read, what should I read, etc. No. Similarly, if you want to work out, okay, if you're thinking in the morning I'll get up and I'll go for a workout, make sure that right next to your bed, it could be on a chair, it could be on the floor, you keep your shoes, your t-shirt, your track pants or whatever else, or everything that you need for your exercise ready. So that when you wake up in the morning, you're not thinking, oh, what should I wear, what should I do? You should also know exactly what you're going to be doing for the workout. Okay, so designing your environment, keeping things in the environment which makes it easy for you to do the things that you want to do, and makes it difficult for you to do the things which you don't want to do, right? And this also means shutting down the notifications from your phone. But more than notifications, people have a tendency to switch back the notifications on, or despite not having notifications going on, checking the phone. So keep the phone out of sight for a certain period of time. I'm not saying ban it forever, right? So these are the secrets for you to overcome distraction for good. And trust me, when you practice the things that I have told you about, not only will you be able to focus, okay, you can start with small amounts of time, but it will keep increasing and you will be able to sustain focus. Now, the strategies that I have told you, they are not short-term strategies. What I have told you are long-term strategies, which will help you to build the habit of focus and stay focused whenever you want to be focused. Okay. And this will transform your life. Okay, so now it is time for me to stop the presentation and take the questions that people are asking. Okay, so if you are here and if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, which is specific to your life situation, the challenges that you may be feeling at this point in time, make sure that you ask that question now. Okay, and let me also say that if you have been enjoying what I have been talking about, if you've been finding this valuable, I also want to share with you, okay, about the 2-hour live masterclass that I will be doing on Saturday at 7:30, where I will share with you, it's called the Smart Productivity Masterclass. I'll share with you the 6-step process, which will help you to achieve any goal that you set for yourself 5 times faster. Okay, so if you would like to know what the 6-step process is and know more about it, here's the link that I am sharing with you. Okay, so I'm sharing that with you in the chat box. Okay, and I'm also going to be sharing it with you on the YouTube. Yes, and in the meantime, people go ahead, ask me any questions. I can see in the question, yes. Okay. Right. Yeah. So people, just make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. Thank you so much, Ritu, for saying that. And do go ahead, ask any questions that you have while I come along and share the link. Okay. Yeah, I'm just checking if there are any questions that I have. So I see Nagarajan saying that I have an internal distraction. Okay, so Nagarajan, let me know in the comments. Have you been able to find the answers to your question of how to deal with internal distraction? Yeah, Santosh, thank you so much for responding. Yes. Okay, I'm going to activate the chat box. Okay, so you are able to chat, and I'm also going to just make sure that I share with you the so let me tell you the link. The link is smartproductivitymasterclass.com. Okay, but here it is, smartproductivitymasterclass.com. Go ahead, people, go on and type your questions, and I'll be okay. So I have a question which says that is watching porn bad and how to control it. So here's the thing, watching porn in itself once in a while may not be such a bad thing, though it is not particularly healthy either, for the reason that porn is not a real life representation of natural sex. Okay, natural intimacy that happens between human beings is not what is represented in porn in the first place. Okay, the other thing that happens is that it keeps giving you dopamine hits so fast that you find it very hard. So slowly and steadily you need more and more of the stimulation to feel actually physically stimulated, which means you have to watch more and more porn to feel stimulated, because what may have stimulated you in like 5-10 minutes earlier is not stimulating you anymore, right? So that is one of the challenges. Okay, so let me also just share. Okay, people, here I am sharing with you the link for the masterclass which is happening on Saturday. So that's one of the things. Okay, so it's important that you don't get, and the more you watch it, the more you get addicted to it, because your brain keeps telling you that, oh, what's some more, and then I will feel the release, right? So that is problematic. And porn is also designed for you to, just like phone and all these social media apps are designed to hook you, even porn is designed to hook you. And how to control it is to uh, you know see, let me tell you something about addiction. Okay, addiction, one of the main reasons for addiction is some form of loneliness or high levels of anxiety. So when you're feeling socially isolated is one of the reasons when people get addicted to a porn. And it's like it's like a vicious cycle. You know why? Because you start watching porn, so a lot of your time is getting wasted. You end up doing not what you want to be doing. Then you feel disappointed, you feel ashamed, then you are worried that you're disappointing other people, so your interaction with other people starts to reduce, and that increases the amount of loneliness that you experience. Now when you feel lonely, your brain is looking for some form of stimulation, then you start watching porn. So this is a vicious cycle which goes on. Okay, so what you want to do is find healthier ways. So start exercising, for example. Okay, start going out, connecting with nature, start having more social interactions. Initially, it may not be easy for you. You have to deliberately reach out to people, have conversations, but start doing that. Become part of communities of people who have similar interests as you. Okay, and when you start doing these things, it will break the cycle. Okay, start with stepping out. Don't stay at home, right? Great. Let me look at other questions. How to improve communication skills with speaking to friends? Santosh, this is not a session on communication skills, so I'll skip that question. This is on how to deal with distraction. Another question that I have is how to focus in class when friends are talking. Okay. Okay, one of the ways to do that would be to, at the beginning of the class, remind yourself what you're here for. Write down the exact goals that you have that you want to achieve by the end of the class, the topics that you want to learn. Okay, the knowledge that you want to have by the end of the class, the kind of questions that you would want to be able to answer by the end of the class. Okay, set that for yourself. Set some expectations with your friends as well, because sometimes what happens is friends are talking and then they expect you also to be part of that conversation. So maybe you want to actually shift and sit in different places. you know uh, I was a student when I was a teenager and all of that, and then I again became a student when I was in my 30s. I went to Tata Institute of Social Sciences. I did my postgraduate diploma in counseling. And this was my second chance to enjoy college. And this time I decided something very interesting. I said that last time, when I was in college, I was constantly being driven by this need to belong. I had to make everybody happy and all of that. But now that I was older, I said that no, I'm here to enjoy. I'm here to learn things that really I love learning. Okay, so I decided that I'm not going to be part of any group in the class, but I was part of every group also, and yet I did not attach myself to any group, no loyalties to a single group. I would sit with different people at different times. I would really ask a lot of questions in the class. Sit right in front of the class. It makes it easy for you to focus. Okay, I hope that helps. uh, you didn't get any of the links. Oh gosh. Okay, let me just share the link again. Sorry, thank you so much for telling me that. I have shared the link again. Now you will be able to see it. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you so much for letting me know. I see Isyansa saying hello. First of all, receive my apologies for joining late. Where do we find the YouTube video? I would love to know what the beginning remarks and presentation. Okay, great. So what you can do is I will in fact also activate the chat. Let me just see if I can do that. Yeah, so you can actually go to @Divya Tampi. That is my YouTube handle. Okay. So my name is Divya Tampi. The channel is by the name Divya Tampi. And so let me just share that in the chat box. Okay, this is my YouTube channel handle. You could go here and subscribe to it, and you will be able to see this live video, which has been streamed live. And thank you so much for asking me that. Awesome, brilliant. Yeah. Any more questions that anybody has? Let me also check on the YouTube. Okay, I'm just checking. Oh gosh, for some reason, I'm not able to see the comments. Okay, yes, there is a live chat. Yes. Okay. How to be consistent when I feel overwhelmed to achieve my goal that is big enough for me? How to be consistent when I feel overwhelmed to achieve my goal? Okay. One of the things about consistency is that you need to break it down. Okay. You need to break it down. Another is that have somebody who will hold you accountable, which means that at the beginning of the day, share with somebody exactly what are the tasks that you're going to do for today. Okay. And in the beginning, don't put too many things in your day. Okay. Make a list of 5 things that you're going to do. And you could even identify somebody who is doing similar work as you, who also has goals, so that you become accountability partners with each other. And every day, each of you will share a list of 5 things that you're going to do. So you tell that other person, send a message to them, say that this is what I'm going to do today. And you send a message to them, say that this is what I'm going to do today. And at the end of the day, each of you tell the other person what is completed and what is not completed. Okay, this is a beautiful way. I mean, nothing works as beautifully as accountability when it comes to consistency. Okay, and the other thing about consistency is always start small. Okay, now you like one of the things that I told you is break down. Okay, consistency becomes possible when you are able to see if you're moving towards the goal that you have or not. If you don't have any idea about whether you're moving towards your goal or not, it is very hard to be consistent. Okay, so break it down, have one specific thing that you, and have a specific time of the day or specific place. For example, if I'm trying to write a book, okay, now this is different to the other work that I do. I may not be a writer, but I want to write a book. Okay, identify a specific place which is not your normal workplace, where you will sit and do the writing, and at that place you will only sit and do the writing. Okay, it could be on the balcony, it could be somewhere else, but that place and that time, decide on the time. Half an hour it could be every day. Okay, and really watch your consistency blossom. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions. Does the focusing habits increase your IQ? It does. See, Santosh, what happens is, when you are able to focus better, you're able to think better. Your mind is able to go deeper, is able to make more connections. And especially if you are working on a particular topic, the more you think about it, the deeper you understand it, the more knowledgeable you become, the more easier it becomes for your brain to process that kind of information. Okay, for example, somebody who is a computer programmer who is building apps. Okay, if they have already been working on building apps, they have already built 4 apps, and now they have to build, or they have built 10 apps. Now they have to build an 11th app, which is very different to the apps that they have built before. Now, this person will build the 11th app much faster in comparison to somebody who has never built apps before, because despite the fact that the 11th app is very different, there are some foundational processes which are common when it comes to building apps, right? Which your brain has practiced so many times that it is automated. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to apply extra energy. So yes, your IQ does increase to some extent. Okay, and it really depends on what area that you're working in. Okay, so that was a great question. Some amazing questions we have had. Thank you so much for asking these questions. Go ahead, Sheikh, you can actually ask the question in the Q&A section. Okay, and I will answer the question. So we will go on for another 4-5 minutes. I will take questions, another 2 questions, and then we will close for the day. Yeah. So do remember the link that I shared with you, which is Smart Productivity Masterclass. Make sure that you join in for this masterclass, which is going to be happening on Saturday at 7:30, where I take you through a 6-step system of how you can achieve your goals 5 times faster. Okay. This is a live session that is going on, Sheikh. Welcome. Yeah, it's lovely to have you all. Okay, looks like that is the end of all the questions that we have had. I really want to thank you all for being here, for watching and joining and participating so beautifully in this live session. I look forward to doing more lives, but don't forget about the other live session that I have, which is smartproductivitymasterclass.com, the link to which I have already shared. I am going to share it once again, and let me share it once again in YouTube as well, so you can actually see it. Here's the link. Make sure you register for this masterclass, and I love to see you all there. Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you so much, people. Okay. One last question I'll answer. Anita says, how to start reading books if that is not my habit? 2-3 things, Anita. First, start with a book on a topic that you love. Okay. If you enjoy reading non-fiction books, maybe children's books, easy to read books, start with something that you enjoy doing. Don't start with some heavy duty book, because you're not going to be able to make that into a habit. Okay. Secondly, decide on a time of the day when you're going to read the book. So it could be just before you go to sleep. It could be right after you wake up. It could be right after you have your lunch. It could be right after. So decide on a specific time at which you're going to be reading a book, and decide and start small. Okay. You say that I will read 1 page. That's it, at a specific time every day, and start with a book that you love reading. And that's all you have to do. And don't think, 10 minutes looks too little, or 1 page, that's too little. Okay. If you can do more than 1 page on a particular day, that's fine. But your bare minimum has to be only 1 page, which means that on any given day, even when you don't have time, you have to read one page. Okay, so when you keep doing this slowly, it's like brushing teeth, right? Like you've been brushing teeth. Hopefully, everybody is brushing teeth every day. When you do it every day, after some time, it's a habit. You don't think about, oh, should I brush my teeth? Should I not brush my teeth? No, you just do it, right? So, hey, my pleasure, everybody. Thank you so much for asking these beautiful questions. Awesome. Yes, Sheikh, that's a question I may not be able to answer right now because the topic is different. We are talking about productivity and we're talking about how to focus and not be distracted. Okay, so thank you very much, people. Have a great day, and I'll see you. Make sure that you've subscribed to the channel, and I will see you for the next live that we have, and I'll see you for the Smart Productivity Masterclass on Saturday at 7:30, the link for which